What's up? I'm Troubleshoot. It's Thursday the 16th of October. Let's speak about this week's brand new Rust skins, have a look at them in game, and of course speculate about market price. Let's do it. This week we've got 10 brand new skins on top of the 2 plushies which we have from earlier this month. Let's quickly run through all of these from most expensive to least expensive. For $2.50 we've got the Armory Garage Door, the B-Sap, Phantom M39, and Iceberg Bed. Moving down to just $2, the Swirled Sword. Even though it's flat, it's got this nice 3D effect. Stepping down to $1.50, the Bones Fridge and Pirate Backpack. Then finally, further down to just $1, the Night Demon Gloves. And of course, the Night Demon Boots, completing the set that we've seen previously. And yet another Miner's Hat. This one is the Señor Tomato Miner's Hat. That's all 10 brand new items this week besides the 2 plushies which you can get to support charity. Let's have a look at all of these in game before we go ahead and speculate about market price. Starting off with wearables, the Night Demon Gloves and Night Demon Boots. Very similar to the rest of the armor set we've seen thus far. We've got very similar looking roadside gloves as well as boots over here. Overall, if you like the general goldeny, yellowy, orangey, fire looking, metal looking skin with of course the same owl slash night symbolism on it, this is going to be an obvious no-brainer completing your set. The boots are no different, they're just as shiny, the same as we've seen quite a few times before, and of course they're just very, very clean overall. It's a very tasteful metal type writing that's done across it, as in like metal band. This is sort of a shiny golden sticker texture, I would call it, on top of this black boot, and of course the same goes for the glove. Overall, they're relatively dark, they're not super obvious, what they're called is super easy to spot from far away. Obviously, if you like how the rest of the skin looks, this is a no-brainer, and if you're collecting it, you'll be getting this anyways. Overall, besides that, there's nothing too crazy or super obvious about these. Moving on to the Señor Tomato Miner's Hat. Obviously, if you like our smiley red friend, this is a pretty cool addition to add to your set. Not only can you have a rock and a door, but now of course a miner's hat as well, complete with tomato paste can at the very front. An incredibly goofy skin to be sure, complete with a leafy top. It's very, very goofy, probably, well, the first happy looking miner's hat that we've got. The other ones have been sort of themed around fish slash general glowy things. Here it doesn't necessarily make too much sense that this is a glowing hat skin. It's more of a novelty item than anything else. Overall, I'm kind of already tired of seeing miner's hat skins unless we see something really cool and creative. The angel halo was just a bit too much, and the anglerfish was actually really, really cool. But do let me know what you think about this down below. Then the pirate backpack for $1.50 is this very dark black backpack complete with algae seeping in from the bottom, giving it this really disgusting looking green tint from the bottom that sort of fades off towards the top, complete with multiple paths leading to treasure, and of course a skull and crossbones on the back where the skull has a crack in it and an arrow fired through it, definitely giving it more of a Rust vibe than a general pirate vibe. Overall, this green is kind of disgusting looking. It definitely looks like it's been sitting around for a while, sort of a lost treasure found in a cave somewhere, but overall, for a dark black backpack skin, it's really not bad at all. The white on the back does give it away just a little bit, but maybe it's worthwhile if you haven't already got yourself a dark backpack skin. The green tint obviously isn't anything too green. It's not going to make you camouflage in a bush slash the jungle, but it definitely couldn't hurt. Flicking around here for the sunlight, you can see that the front straps as well are also just as well weathered, with a couple more paths across it, more bits of algae and things growing, and overall, yeah, its backpack's definitely seen better days. For a dark backpack skin, it's really not bad at all. I like the general theme to it, and of course it is going to vanish quite nicely at nighttime. Now that we've covered all of the wearables, let's quickly flick over to nighttime, and as you'd expect, everything vanishes completely. Nothing emits color, nothing glows, etc., meaning you'll vanish into the dark just as easily. That's great to see, meaning all of these wearables are fine to use, except for obviously the tomato hat, which, as you'd expect, does glow, emitting just a bit of light onto itself. Maybe you as well if you're wearing bright enough clothing, and of course you can see what it looks like here. Yeah, it's definitely very goofy. It's a little bit more creepy at nighttime with just the front illuminated, sort of like it's coming out of the darkness to suck on your toes or something. Anyways, moving past that, and on to weapons, starting with the $2.50 Phantom M39. This very Eastern looking M39, definitely only for a small few. I'm not sure whose fancy this tickles, but if it's yours, do let me know. it's a bit too generic, at least from what it appears to be. It's definitely nothing too crazy at all, but it is still relatively clean. The golden leaf artwork across it is just a bit, I don't know, maybe a bit much. At least it's nothing too loud and annoying, but yeah, I don't know, it's okay. Having a look at the first person here, you can get a closer look at it. It's sort of a fabricy red across it, and if we scope in, you can see that this looks generally very close to the default, except we're missing that ring at the back, making it quite a bit easier to see what's going on. Nothing too crazy pay-to-win about it, but if you haven't already got an M39 skin with a better iron sight, you should definitely consider picking up this, or maybe a cheaper M39 with the iron sight missing. Overall, not that bad at all, and flicking over to nighttime, as you'd expect, there's no missions or anything, it should just straight up vanish, and yeah, it definitely does. It's not too bad, although, at least in my opinion, it's nothing crazy. Then moving on from here, for $2.50, the B-Sap. Super bright, super yellow, this caution tape looking semi-automatic pistol skin complete with a reddish iron sight at the very front, we'll see what that looks like at nighttime, is definitely not going to keep you hidden at all. This skin is something that wants other people to know that you're holding it, as this caution tape color definitely doesn't blend in with anything really. If you're rocking a set that's somewhat related to bees, or I guess supposed to make you look like a bee, this would probably fit right in, but other than that, I really have no idea where this thing's use would be. And scoping in, you can see that the front iron sight is very easy to see, but if we flick over to nighttime and wait for things to adjust, you can see that just the tip is super easy to see, which is actually really good. The skin doesn't emit any light or anything like that, it's just the yellow is very visible at nighttime. And of course the red iron sight tip at the very front. Overall, nothing too crazy, but I do like the very visible front iron sight, and of course, looking at the default skin, you can see the back iron sight is all but completely removed. Then moving on from there, we've got the Swirled Sword. This actually has a really cool 3D looking effect to it. We've seen quite a few salvage swords with different 3D effects, different holes and things like that, but this is definitely one of the much more unique ones. Basically, from any angle except for maybe 20-30 degrees at the front, you'll know that the skin doesn't actually look 2D, even though it is very much two flat sides to a 3D skin. This twirl in the center that adjusts with the lighting in a very clever way is very convincing. It looks like something went horribly wrong with you making this, or maybe it's just supposed to be like that. Besides the very small off angle, this very unique salvage sword skin, I definitely like a huge amount, as I'm a big sucker for these 3D type effects where there's lots of creativity put into it. Really cool. Do let me know what you think down below. As you'd expect, again, no emissions, nothing like that. It vanishes completely. Capping it off, the $2.50 Iceberg Bed for $2.50. This bed has the blanket completely removed and everything else shaped out of ice. If you're living in an ice base in the snow, this is a pretty cool themed addition to add to your base. Any other biome, and it looks like it should have melted quite a long time ago, especially the desert, although this might be nice to come back to if you've been exploring the desert all day. This very flat and very square looking, super uncomfortable bed can be all yours for just $2.50, and of course it is complete with this really shiny, glossy ice effect that does look pretty cool with higher graphic settings. Moving on from there, we've got the Armory garage door for $2.50, and as you'd expect, there's a few different glowy lights across it, and it definitely does look far more industrial / pulled out of a Doom game or something along those lines, as it's got that sort of similar art style to it. If we flick over to the backside, you can see the roll-up at the top is more of this army green color, although with Armory written on it. Maybe you got your spawn in here with a couple of lockers behind it. As for a named garage door, it's pretty cool. Flicking over to nighttime, as you'd expect, the glow actually looks really good on this. I think it came out super well, with this bluey sort of glow at the bottom and this more yellow glow at the top. The difference between these two temperatures and color definitely does look really cool, and if you're looking for a place to put all your weapons, it should definitely be behind this door. Overall, I'd rate the skin pretty high up. It's nothing too crazy with how it looks, but it definitely does come together really nicely, and as you'd expect, there's no transparency, which does give you a bit more privacy inside your base. Transparency is sometimes nice to have, but if you're hiding a lot of valuable, weapons in this case, behind a door, you might not want people knowing exactly what's going on here, or it could just be a really good bait door. And finally, for $1.50, the Bones Fridge. I actually almost forgot about it, but this is probably one of the most unique item skins this week, even though it's not the most most popular. There's a huge amount of transparency in this. Obviously, it's a solid fridge, so you're not going to be shooting through it or anything like that, but the amount of visibility and door blocking possibilities that this opens is actually really high. I don't think we've seen so many super transparent fridges, but we'll have a look at that in just a second. And just out of curiosity, here's the top. As for a functional fridge, this definitely is barely keeping wind out, never mind keeping things cold, so as for how it works, nobody really knows, but this is relatively well detailed, with both an interior that's visible only from a few certain angles, and an outside being always visible from the one side, meaning you can see through it really easily with minimal obstructions. It's pretty well thought through for what it is. That's all of the brand new skins this week, so without further ado, let's see what's sold best this week so far and make some wild speculations about the future. Obviously, I'm no oracle, and if you're planning on buying skins, buy them to play with, not to sell for a profit in the future. And if you do your own research. Here, I'm just looking at similar skins, items in the same collection, and making some wild guesses about where things might go in the future. So without further ado, let's begin. Rust.scmm.app does seem to be up much more reliably nowadays, so we're returning back here to see exactly what's going on this week. Let's quickly have a look at items that have sold best this week, and starting off at the very top, the Armory garage door is the best selling item this week with over 1,500 minimum sales, which is pretty high. Then, bed skins are still quite new, and we've only got a few others on the market. The Iceberg Bed has sold at least 1,200 times, placing it solidly in second this week thus far. Then the Pirate Backpack, 1,100 sales, not bad at all. Night Demon Road Sign Gloves, 880, and the Boots, 800. So quite a few more people like the gloves than the boots. The BSAP, 727, actually quite surprisingly high for what it is. I didn't think many people would be into this. The Swirled Sword at 669, Phantom M39, 613, Señor Tomato Miner Hat, 580, Bones Fridge, 543, placing it solidly in last place. Actually rather surprised to see this here. Let's start off by having a look at different fridges to see if we've seen something anywhere near this transparent, and I actually don't think we have. Everything here has an opaque backboard to it. Some of them you can see through the sides and sort of get a bit more visibility. This is by far the most open fridge that we've seen, making it a rather unique skin. A lot of the new fridge skins have lost quite a bit of value. I can't get that to go away. There you go. Most of them have lost quite a bit of their value, except for the Easter Neon Fridge and Chick Fridge, which are up 34 and 55% respectively. As for before this year, the Frankenstein Fridge is doing pretty well. 2023, the Frosty Fridge, we only had 2 fridge skins that year. 22, nothing but a Twitch drop, same for 21, and just before 2020, most of the fridge skins we saw here are doing pretty well, but the public toilet way up there. Overall, if you're looking for a transparent door blocking item, this is a fantastic choice. If you're getting raided, plonk one down, and you'll secure yourself a few more seconds while you wait for the building block to vanish, and you can re-secure your base. Obviously, a vending machine is another choice for something like that, but way more annoying to deal with. Transparency, very unique. I'm not too sure what'll happen, as this is the least well-selling item this week, but it does have some rather unique traits about it. Then, the Señor Tomato Miner's Hat. We have seen a couple of other Miner's Hat skins. Obviously, most of the earlier ones have gone way up, but the Anglerfish Miner's Hat, which I really liked, has lost quite a bit of its value, and the Angelic Halo has just gone on sale, so it's very difficult to tell exactly where this item will go in the future. Overall, based on just one other Miner's Hat skin that's had some time to spread its legs and breathe, Miner's Hats don't seem to be that good of an investment, and this isn't the most unique skin, in that it's more of a regular looking Miner's Hat than the 2 crazy themed items we had just before it. If we have a look at the other Señor Tomato items, the items that you can hold, being the rock and the hammer, have done actually surprisingly really well, and both buildables, which are a single sheet metal door and a garage door, have done, well, terribly. Overall, I do think I'll be skipping out on it, but the cuteness factor is still slightly there, even if you can only see one eye and half the smile at a time. Then for $2.50, the Phantom M39 is joining a ton of other M39 rifles. However, everything here is red across the board, except for very early M39 skins. Everything else has been a terrible investment. Overall, I don't see this being any different, but if we compare it to the rest of the Phantom collection, this does seem to be doing relatively well, with a couple of the weapons seeing a little bit of a price increase, the revolver being a massive amount, and the armor doing really well for itself as well. Overall, M39 skins have done terribly, and I don't see why this one's going to do any differently. Then the Swirled Sword for $2 is joining again a sea of red, with basically everything here losing value across the board except for the Minecraft looking pixel sword, fire slasher, and skins before 2018, where there's a lot more green going on here. As for 3D effects, we've seen a lot of cutouts where things have been made a lot more jagged, squared, things like that. Here's a bit of a bendy 3D effect, but nothing too crazy. This is by far the most 3D looking skin that we've seen, maybe just in front of the Lunar Snake Helix Rapier, which we had much earlier this year in January. Overall, things haven't been doing too well for salvage swords. This is probably going to follow in the same path, even though I definitely do like the more unique 3D style. Then the B-Sap. If we have a look at other semi-pistol skins, most of it is red, almost all across the board except for the Deep Ruby Sap, Thundergold Sap, Blackout, Crazy Love, and a couple of other ones, but none of these are really too crazy in that they've only gained 10 to 50% value from their original store price. Nothing here is too insane except for the much earlier skins. Overall, Sap skins are very much more miss than hit nowadays, but if you've got a B collection going on, sure, you can add this to your skin collection. Overall though, none of these really tickle too much of my fancy, besides maybe the door, which has some relatively nice visibility through it with these two little eye windows. Then the Night Demon boots and Night Demon gloves, both for $2, are joining the Night Demon set, for which we've seen a couple of items here doing relatively well, with the other ones sort of keeping their price and maybe losing just a little bit. It's sort of a coin toss as for whether things will go up or down here. If you like how it looks, definitely do pick it up, and maybe in the future when the set is more complete, more people will be purchasing more items from the Steam market, driving up price just a little bit, but overall, it really is an unknowable 50-50. Then the Pirate Backpack for $1.50 is joining surprisingly many other backpack skins. We've seen an insane amount this year, starting with backpack skins just last year. Last year, nothing here did too well except for the Desert Nomad, and this year we saw a couple of stinkers, but a few that did break the mold, being the Bombshell Backpack, Heart Collector, Hatched Backpack, Ultramarine, Funerary just barely, and the Thundergold Backpack last week, although this is definitely too new to be sure. Overall, this is a darker backpack skin, being more similar to the Funerary, Training, Cyber Pack, maybe, Kevlar Backpack, Restoria Backpack, Hard Suit, and Blackout Backpack here. The Blackout Backpack is the most Blackout backpack that we've seen. I own this, and it's definitely very useful to have on Blackout kits. This is less Blackout, but it is part of the Pirate Collection, which may see some more success with the Naval update coming. I think it's next month. In the rest of the set, the armor, clothing, and things like that have done actually really insanely well compared to some of the weapons that we have here. The Pirate Furnace, the Garage Door did well, Sheet Metal Door, and relatively new Pirate Boots, which we saw just a few weeks ago. Overall, maybe things might be happening in the next month where we have this pirate update. Maybe not so much as the jungle update where green skins shot up in price. Here it's more of just a themed thing is happening. Lots of people are going to be playing with it, so maybe they'll be picking up themed skins, driving up the overall price of this entire collection. Just out of curiosity, if we have a look at, say, the face mask here, have a look at price history, there's nothing too crazy going on here besides just general growth over the years as more items are bought out, with a general dip happening through the middle of the year around April and then jumping up just after that. Nothing seems too out of the ordinary this year, except maybe we'll see a price increase again if people buy more pirate-themed skins. Overall, things do look pretty good based on the entire collection, but based on backpacks, I don't think so. Then the Iceberg Bed is our second last item, joining the 4 other bed skins. The most recent is the only profitable one, the Neon Bed Blue, although again this just went on sale, so it's impossible to tell whether this will actually keep its green for more than just a few days or join the rest of the bed skins and horribly tank in price. It does seem to show this glowing effect on SCMM, and even Rust Help has it listed as glowing. If we have a look in-game, change it to nighttime, I don't think there's anything necessarily glowing about this. Maybe there's a bit of self-emission in that you can see this object sticking out more than other objects. That's probably what it is, but it's definitely not glowing as much as it is just not adhering to general global illumination rules. It's got its sort of own lighting going on where it's quite a bit brighter than ambient, being dark black, but it's definitely nothing glowing. If you're standing in front or behind this, it'll definitely show off your position at least slightly. So I guess it's technically our third glowing bed skin, although it's definitely not glowing as much as the Neon and Cargo Bed. It's just a bit different different in that regards. Overall, bed skins seem to already be oversaturated. There's too much choice already, I guess, or at least maybe people aren't showing as much interest as first expected. Then, finally, the Armory Garage Door, the best-selling item this week, with over 1,500 minimum sales, refreshing, yep, about the same. It's joining 99 other garage doors, most of which are existing in this sea of red, only separated by Twitch drops for the most part. Basically nothing this year except for the Mystic Tree Garage Door has gone up in price, and 2024 was a little bit more green, but again, it's mostly red all the way across the board. Overall, things are looking terrible for the Armory Garage Door based on other garage door skins, and of course it isn't part of a set, it's standing on its own. Assuming we don't see more items from the Armory set, or maybe other named garage doors somewhat similar to this, yeah, I'm really not too sure what's going to happen with this, although most likely the odds are stacked hard against it. But yeah, with that, you've seen all of this week's brand new Rust skins. Do remember to drop a like, subscribe, and of course, I'll see you all next week when we have a look at those brand new Rust skins. Anyways, thank you for watching. My name's been Troubleshoot, and I'll see you all next time. Ciao.